gonna
And that one's so much more smooth.
Perfect.
So much smoother.
So much
smoothly.
smooth.
So much smoothly. The Last of Us, episode 6, season 1 review. And to start off with, that was a fucking masterclass in acting.
Really? You think so?
You didn't?
No. I hate it. I'm just kidding. It was amazing.
I was so confused first.
No,
There's no way.
It was true.
There's absolutely no way.
It's probably it's probably my favorite episode now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's dive right into it. Let's dive right into it. I love the opening. I love that old couple who's just living out in a shack in Wyoming.
Were so funny.
It was
that
was
loved
awesome.
Those. I loved those two. We need more. I want a whole like a Nick Off or Frank and Bill episode, but instead it's those two.
Yeah,
that's
their
what
backstory.
I want. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
They were great.
Did you tell them the truth? Yeah. Are you telling me the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of imagine like if Robin and I grew old together out in the middle of Wyoming through an apocalypse, I feel like we'd kind of be like them.
Right.
But I mean, they were living really well. They were a little on the huskier side through an apocalypse. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. That was an awesome way to open up the episode. Loved it.
Great.
We got a little for video game fans. We had a little teasing there with the whole map thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we won't expand on that. We'll get there later. But that was a fun little nod to video gamers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this episode just was so good. We go right into it. And they did a bit of a time jump there.
Yeah.
Between Kansas City and Wyoming, and 3 months later it needed.
Right. I mean,
we're getting where we're going with the story. And
what else could you have done?
Yeah. So that getting right into it, they had the suspense with the dogs when they got captured.
Oh, that was killing me.
Because that's
dude.
not in the game. So we're just like, how is this going to go down?
That killed me, dude. Yeah, that killed me.
And then it turned out to be all cute and fun. And
yeah.
It was all great. So, Joel gets into Wyoming to Jackson with Ellie, and they meet up with Tommy and his wife and the clan that is kind of settled there.
Mm-hmm.
And just right off the bat, emotions are heavy because he, when he sees his brother for the first time and they, run and embrace, and that's you just felt there was a lot there, a lot between them that was, I think that's what they did so well is there was so much there in that embrace that was not on screen. We haven't seen anything since Outbreak Day, but you still felt it.
Yeah,
so I think they did a good job setting that up for sure.
And then to Ellie's reaction to it too, like, was really impressive to me. I thought
it was probably the most almost vulnerable she's seen Joel.
Yeah,
or not vulnerable, but it's the most she's seen him care for another person, like show outward affection towards.
Yeah, but I just thought it was kind of crazy that she seemed almost bummed that there was. Cause
I picked up on that too. It was almost a sort of jealousy.
Yeah, exactly. Because she's finally starting to really trust Joel, I think, and really starting to actually care for him, like as a father figure.
And
probably?
she's having that trust that we kind of see later on in the episode.
Yeah,
that she was starting to
to see him kind of like not giving her that kind of affection. I think that's maybe that was the jealousy. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. It was that fear that he has a reason to leave me now. There's somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's jealous. We've all been there. It's okay, Ellie. Yeah, that was good. And then I have a... So, yeah. So what happens next? So they have kind of dinner with Tommy, and we discover his wife, Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And was that Dina that she saw?
That could be a little bit of a teaser, maybe,
also,
or a little call out.
But I also feel like it could be racist for me because the skin was slightly brown. So I'm like, because of that, that's immediately Dina. Which, if you're following along, that's in Game 2, Season 2. So we don't know that.
Or that's just really good, casting too.
It would be weird if they cast Dina this early, though.
Right, but I mean, they're setting up for Season 2 already, because they said that they're going to do a Season 2, right?
Yeah. It's already been
confirmed. Yeah. So they're laying the foundation already a little bit. Like, Well, maybe season 2 we see like a little flashback to that or
We
something.
could.
And
It's also though it was such a brief shot.
we get like maybe I bet I'm gonna put a bet down right now for season 2.
Okay.
Season 2 we get a Dina only, like a backstory episode,
Okay.
and it shows that scene with her like
How
staring
do you
at
want,
Ellie.
do you want to bet? Because I will actually bet that. I don't think that'll happen.
You don't think that'll happen?
There's a lot in Game 2 and Season 2 that's going to be covered. I don't think we're going to have time.
I don't. They've had to skip stuff in this so far.
But Season 2 has even more cast of characters. There's a lot more that.
Do you think there'll be more episodes?
I think there will. I
think so,
I
too.
wouldn't be surprised if they split the second game into 2 seasons. Honestly,
Yeah,
I could see it happening. There's a lot
that
to
is a
cover there.
possibility.
But I would love it. I would love a Dina backstory. Honestly, we didn't really get much in the second game.
Well, I just
No
with,
spoilers or anything.
with the reception that the Bill and Frank episode had, I feel like they're gonna have to do something with a side character.
And there's a lot of side characters, so yeah, maybe there will be.
So, but then you have. Never mind. I don't want to get into.
Yeah, we
I
don't.
don't want to get into.
I think though too. Also, it was such a brief glimpse that they could honestly recast if they wanted to.
Oh, for sure. Well,
So-
and they're gonna be a little bit older too.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
But but again, that is all pure speculation.
Yeah. Right.
So anyway, yeah, but we get back to Ellie's very standoffish here
Mhm.
with Tommy and Maria, and then we find out they're married, and the Millers like themselves. They like black women.
They seem to. Yeah.
Did
They-
you
they
think
have
that?
They have a type. They do have a type.
That was the first thing I noticed when we saw that. We found out that was Maria.
And I couldn't tell when like, because Joel asked Maria, he's like, hey, can we have some family time? And Tommy reaches over and grabs Maria's hand and is like, well, actually, Joel, Maria's family, and you see his face like confusion, but also like kind of like copying me. Maybe that's or maybe that's me projecting, I guess. I don't know.
Are you hitting on my ex-wife via Maria? How'd you like the scenes between Maria and Ellie when they split up?
I liked him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it.
Shout out Nebraska.
Yeah, the Omaha, Nebraska.
Rob and I
call out.
high-fived when that happened.
Nice.
Representation.
Nice. For some reason, Nebraska keeps showing up in a lot of random
We're
television
growing in
shows.
popularity, man.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Thanks Scott Frost for that.
There's is it Netflix? I think it was a Netflix movie. Anyways, there was a movie on Netflix where random lady is like, "Oh, I'm from Grand Island, Nebraska." And I was like, "What the hell?
Why would you know? Why would you?
What
an awful place to be from.
what an awful place to be from, and what a deep cut. Like you're really drawn from the bottom of the barrel of Nebraska cities. Like, jeez.
There was a shout out to Nebraska too, and one of the Chili Peppers' newest CDs
Oh, really?
talked about somebody living in a matchbox, living in a matchbox in Omaha. It's nothing fantastic. Was the lyric.
Very true. Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah, I liked it was kind of an interesting. It was almost kind of Game of Thronesy to me. It was like, because in Game of Thrones we get those empowered women
Trying to show
vocal jousts,
Mhm.
and I feel like we almost got they both were like, okay, I don't trust you, you don't trust me, that's fine, but we're gonna talk a little bit here. But this is the scene though where Ellie finds out about Sarah,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about this a little bit later. But I told you I had reservations with Bella Ramsey as Ellie. Completely sold. Like,
Nice.
She is knocked out of the park with this. But yeah, just her subtle facial reactions, just finding out that Joel had a daughter, and then immediately wrapping back in. Oh yeah, that explains a lot. It was again just such great acting by such a young person. It blew me away. So good.
Yeah, and I've also been loving her post episode kind of commentary stuff. She is so smart for her. Oh my god, it blows my mind. I'm like, if I was that smart when I was your age, I'd be
I probably
way
would be
better off.
I wouldn't be doing a podcast right now in my 30s.
Or if I did, people would listen.
People might actually listen.
But yeah,
They also there's another thing too. I thought, and I I don't want to be kind of offensive here, and I don't mean anything by it. But there was another like
speak your truth
with her with the gifts that or the new clothes and stuff. She got another. It was another like pointing out the girls have periods kind of thing.
Okay.
And I didn't have a problem with it. I was like, wait, but that's like twice now we're making it like kind of giving it focus.
Mm-hmm.
Is that intentional or is that I don't know. I just thought it was. I don't think it's weird. I don't think periods are weird. I just thought it was interesting that we're going back to that. Does that make sense?
I guess
maybe I'm uncomfortable with women. I don't know.
Could be.
I had to pause it, and Robin had to explain to me what it was.
That sounds about right, actually. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Seems kind of weird from a married man with 3 daughters. So
they're not teenagers yet.
That's true. So, but it's good that you're learning now before they get to that age, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was kind of a funny. I think it was obviously directed probably more towards the female audience, right? Most guys were probably like you.
Yeah, okay, so like, that's the thing. I don't think it's weird. It felt almost like it was like doing the same bit over again. Because we noticed the tampon box in episode 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't think that. That's actually a really cool thing that you don't think about on Apocalypse. Is they're like, oh, wait, here it is again in case you missed it. That's the only thing
interesting,
I'm referring
to.
I don't think that.
Huh. I guess I didn't think of it that
weird.
way.
I just, as far as directing, it seems almost like it was spotlit again.
Yeah. Just they kind of recycled the same joke.
Yeah, and not that it's a joke, but just like highlighting the same thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm probably just being stupid.
I've just
noticed it. That's all.
Yeah, I've liked Ellie's reaction in both of those scenes. Like it was just had a little bit of humor behind it, you know. Yeah, and then in that one she was just like, "What in the hell?" and like did a thing. She's like, "What?" like when she opens the pamphlet to see like how it works. She's like, "Oh my god!" I thought it was kind of silly and kind of funny, sort of thing, but. Yeah, I think it is. I didn't think of it the way you thought of it. I didn't even.
I think of everything in life as a bit to me. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
I see that as just like we're just recycling the bit. So that goes on. That was great, and then we go over to, and this is where the episode gets real for me. When Joel is in the kind of the leather shop trying to fix his shoes, and Tommy comes in. Oh, we should go back to the bar.
We should also mention at the beginning of the episode when the couple they met in the cabin in the woods, after they tell him that going west is a bad idea and that it's I need to get west because that's where my brother is, and they're like, oh, he's dead, and maybe it's an anxiety attack. I don't know what he's just kind of. I think it's a big.
It's definitely an anxiety attack.
Yeah, because it's kind of a big deal in the episode. I think because it happens a couple times, and so yeah, that was. It just seems like a big deal because it kind of hits him again.
I actually forgot that he had that at the beginning.
Yeah, and it was very scary. I was like,
is he having a heart attack?
I know, but he was grabbing the wrong side of his chest. So I was just like, what is happening? No, wait, was that the right?
No,
it should. It should be your left. It should be your left. Okay, but so yeah, you could just tell he's just like he's not comfortable, as we all are, with getting older, and all of a sudden, like all these things that are happening, it's just happening too fast, and like too many emotions are happening, and it's just getting to his brain, sort of thing. He's getting in his own head a bit, and yeah.
Yeah, so we fast forward before we get to that good scene. Him and Tommy meet up at the bar, and that's where we find out Maria is pregnant, which I think Maria being pregnant is maybe kind of big. Because what does that mean for season 2 then?
Yeah,
because she's not pregnant in the game. So it's like, so what they highlighted it though. So it's like, what is the significance here? And it could just be like it's what's holding Tommy back from going with him. Yeah, and she ends up having a miscarriage or baby dies. They could go any which way they want with it. But I just thought it was interesting because maybe that could lead up to something in season 2 that we don't know about yet. Yeah. So that's interesting. But yeah, they have their fight, obviously.
Well, and Joel lying about Tess, too, I thought was really interesting as well. Like,
yep, she's fine.
It just seems like, again, that Joel also seemed a little disappointed that Tommy was, like, doing great. Like, he was in great shape. Like, he's in a great community. And
I love how like Tommy he pointed out that it was communism. Yeah. And Tommy's like, no, it's not. And Maria's like, yeah, it is. He's like,
no, it's exactly what it is. And Joel turns around and just looks at him. You know,
That
those
was
Texans.
That was a great little bit.
Those
I
Texans,
love that.
yeah, they're like they none of them want to admit
This ain't communism.
uh,
yeah, it kind of is.
He's Maria. That's exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what she said verbatim.
Yeah, that was a great bit.
It was hilarious.
But yeah, the writing was so good with the dynamic between Joel and Tommy being okay, because everything was so believable. Because we in this, Joel communicates with Tommy via radio, which wasn't the game, so that already sets up something. And then obviously Tommy actively ignored Joel to go live what you can consider the most normal life you could have.
It's given the circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely, because a lot of times, sometimes drama and shows and movies can kind of feel manufactured.
Because they are,
But
so.
I thought this was just so the level of detail that went into the writing and everything in this show so far has just been so good that I was so bought in just to that, because I understood both sides. Like I literally tried to imagine my brother and I in the same situation,
Right?
And because I love my brother, he's been on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that's evidence that I love him. I don't know why I
No,
said
100%.
that. but like I could totally see us, getting each other's face over a glass of whiskey because of things like this that have happened in our lives. It's just it was so good.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I said, Joel just seemed almost upset that he was doing so well, and Joel's been having such a hard time lately,
Struggling.
the hardest of times. But you see him kind of getting mad about that, and then Tommy like being like, "Nah, man, we were terrible people. I had to get away from that," sort of thing, and Joel trying to come to terms with, him with that in his head, which we've seen a few times during the season so far. And you're correct; the two of those actors together were phenomenal. I'm an only child, but I was being moved to tears just because I was just thinking of like a friend, because unfortunately you guys I'm gonna have to consider you family, so. But that's what I was putting in my head. I was like, oh my gosh.
In this situation, are you Joel or are you Tommy? And am I Joel or am I Tommy?
I don't know, man. It's so hard to think about.
I'm kind of older, and you have the hair.
It's true.
So
I
I'm
guess
probably more like
I guess
Joel.
I'm Tommy, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the good guy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get pissed at you when you have a kid.
Yeah.
And call out your parenting. So, but then that gets us. That was the first scene. So then after that, Joel storms out and they reconvene in the leather shop where Joel's going to fix his shoes. And this is where Pedro Pascal deserves every Emmy award, whatever
Oscar,
award is available. Yeah, Oscars are for
MTV
movies.
Music Video Award.
Give him everything. Awards that don't even exist for television. Bring him in.
Give him a World Cup. Give him the Lombardi.
I've never seen Messi do anything like that.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, I've never seen him act like that.
Never. Yeah, it was just it was so, because that was the first time we've really seen Joel kind of break down the walls, be vulnerable. He told Tommy everything about Ellie, his issues with his panic attacks, with coming to grips with this girl is almost becoming a daughter to me, and I cannot lose that again. That was there. And it was so powerful. And again,
his age, I feel like his age too. He was very concerned. Like he's like, man, I'm old. I'm old. I can't
50
do it.
plus and an apocalypse with not, there's really not modern medicine anymore.
Right.
It was just in the chemistry between the two actors was so good. And that's what I meant by masterclass in acting. Pedro Pascal, who I think I've been fairly open with this podcast, I think is a different kind of Joel, and I haven't liked it as much, I guess I would say. But this performance in this episode, and mainly because of the part of this scene has to do with that. It was just the acting is absolutely breathtaking, incredible. He's crying, I'm crying, everybody's crying, and it was amazing.
Well, and credit, I should know the actor's name. The actor who plays Tommy.
Something like Luna, I think.
Okay. Because he didn't have a lot of lines during this scene, right? It's Joel just kind of breaking down and just like spilling his heart out to his brother about this stuff, and him just having to act with his face and kind of his reactions and his body language
His
and everything.
presence in the scene.
Yeah, it was
Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel Luna. Man, you were phenomenal. Just like I said, just the way he had to, just his body language and everything was perfect. And then finally, as the scene's kind of wrapping up, he sits down. He's like, "Tell me everything." When Joel kind of like,
He gave that space, as a performer, and as a character, he gave that space to Pedro Pascal and Joel to kind of. He was like a supporting act, and he did it so well that his ability to support Pedro in the scene elevated
monologue
Pedro's
almost,
performance. Yeah, the chemistry there was phenomenal.
They're so good, man. This is my favorite episode. I think it's just so good.
Yeah,
because we're halfway through, maybe.
we have 3 episodes left after this.
No. Sorry, through the episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
And we've gone on about it feels like every scene in this episode had a nugget of gold. In every single scene, there was always something leading to something else, and it just kept building and building, and it was great. So with that being said, that scene happened, and Joel confesses I can't take her. I'm not in a situation. I'm not the man I used to be. I can't protect this girl who I am falling in love with.
Yeah.
As another daughter.
Yeah.
And Tommy agrees. Okay, I'll take her.
Well, and you saw the reluctance in his face too, because he's about to be a father
Himself.
right?
Yeah.
And to leave your wife pregnant in this
And
world,
to leave the kind of safety and sanctuary of that Jackson has to offer.
yeah, you could see the conflict in his face, but in his facial expressions again, and but you just see that he's just like, this is my brother, man, and I just saw him break down like I've probably never seen him break down since
not
since Sarah died,
since,
right? And so I think that's kind of what pushed him over the edge, and just so well done again.
My heart was broken too when Joel walked out. Before that, when he walked outside and he saw the back of the girl's hair that looked just like Sarah's hair.
Oh man,
I was like, oh no.
that's how
and we got a little bit of Sarah flashback scenes, which is nice. Just a few glimpses.
Nice, yeah. Just a few glimpses. It's
but
just
I
enough
love
for me.
She's so good. She was so good. It was great seeing her back.
Yeah, and that scene too. You can tell how far Joel has really started. I can't tell if it's hope almost that he would even think in his mind, when his daughter literally died in his arm, but he would even be like, she's here, he was he could even hope for that much.
It was an amazing example, I guess, of PTSD.
Right? Yeah. It was incredible too. They all just did so well.
So that gets us to the scene, the big scene, the most important scene, and possibly the video game, and possibly the season, when Joel confronts Ellie to tell her that, hey man, deuces, I'm bailing out. Tommy's taking you. Nice knowing you, but I ain't doing this. And obviously she confronts him about Sarah, and this was.
Now I want to hold on before we move on with that. You made it seem like Joel doesn't even want Ellie around anymore. This was very difficult for Joel to say.
Yeah. No, I was just being facetious here, just as a setup, obviously.
Gotcha. Okay, my bad.
This was a very powerful scene in the video game, which was wonderfully performed by Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those defining scenes within the story that these actors had to match, and I think also the creators did a competent job as well in keeping it as close as possible as the source material.
I mean, it was,
but they allowed the actors in the scene to make it their own.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I mean, you couldn't possibly just. Each one is going to be their own special thing, right? And even besides the fact that this was Pedro Pascal and Bill Ramsey's scene, right? This was them recreating what Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker did. I mean, they got it down almost to a T, right? you could put those two scenes next to each other, and it would be pretty close.
They left out my favorite line though.
Oh yeah.
You're treading on some mighty thin ice right now.
Oh, that's yes. Oh no.
Not even my favorite. Not even my favorite line. It's just,
right.
I don't know. It always stood out to me for whatever reason. But
It
I
must-
think it was good. Like I said, it was they gave the source material all of the justice that it deserved.
it was definitely
While
for us gamers.
while simultaneously, the chemistry between Bella and Pedro was real enough that they were able to make that scene their own, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And this is really, I know I talked a little bit earlier, but I think that this is really where Bella Ramsey sold me on like when she pushed him and those lines of dialogue and those tears, like ripped my own heart out as I'm watching this. It was so incredibly well done in just, Pedro Pascal performing Joel in this. I'm trying to, be closed off and strong for the sake of you.
Right.
And
yeah.
this is so hard for him because he can't go through the pain of, because this is the monumental scene where if he takes any steps forward with her, then it's locked in. This is his daughter.
Yeah.
And so this is him at the precipice of their relationship, and he's forcing it to not happen. And the acting between the two was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Did you think it was better than the game?
It's so hard. There's always gonna be bias and love for the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, we spent up to that moment. I mean, we probably spent 5 hours with Joel and Ellie? 4?
Or more.
You think so?
Definitely.
Okay, yeah.
We spent 5 hours in the television show.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I'm just better than you at the game, I guess. And just kidding.
I died a lot.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but I don't know. That's so hard. They're both their own unique thing, right? And
yeah.
even though they're both so close to being the same thing. I mean, obviously we saw how close this was to the source material, and it was definitely for the fans of the game, right? Like they knew they could make some changes to the show, right? And they had to, but there had to be these certain moments where they needed to give the gamers who came to the show because they saw the actors, they saw HBO was getting it, they knew that there was going to be some money behind it, they knew all this stuff. They needed to give them something, and they nailed it with this scene.
Well, they've done that. Every pivotal scene and every important aspect of the game has showed up in the show.
And it's always been great, but it's never been like this though. This was the scene. Like you said, this was the scene in the game that
this is the shifting point in the story between the characters.
Right. And so for these two to be able to do it so well together, it's hard to beat.
It actually gave me an even greater appreciation for the video game actors.
Right. Because they just have their voices to do it with while they're...
Well, they did mocap, too.
Oh, that's true. Good point. Yeah, so they're acting with that, so...
Both performances are phenomenal, and it's hard to compare the two. I think they were both great in their respective fields.
I think, not to interrupt, but the actress who played... the Firefly lady from Boston.
Maria?
No.
Not Maria. I can't think of her name.
I know.
Shit. They even mentioned her.
I know. I just want to call her post interview or post episode
Teresa
commentary up again. Where she was saying, how acting
Marlene.
There it is. Okay. How the acting and voice acting
so
are
different,
different because you're just kind of giving your voice. You may have the suit on and all that stuff, but really it's the game designers that are going to be creating and kind of molding it into their vision, to their art, and you're just kind of elevating it. Whereas this is just all Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. This is just them taking the writing from the writers and the direction of a director and making it their own, you know? And they nailed it. They knocked it out of the park, dude. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, I still can't get past that scene where Joel says like, you have no idea what loss is.
Yeah.
And she's like, everybody is fucking left, and then she pushes it.
Yeah.
It was
the escalation of it.
It was so good.
The escalation of it is
like I said, this was a masterclass in act and writing and direct. Yeah, this show is going down as an all-time great, and it somehow just keeps getting better and better. And I'm thinking this whole time, like, if they stick the landing, if the final scene of this season
before they roll credits
is the final scene in the game. It's gonna be absolutely breathtaking.
I hadn't even thought of that.
That's
Tyler.
the only thing I've thought of this whole
really?
season.
Oh my gosh! Now it's all I'm gonna be able to think about.
And as we go through each episode, they're gonna nail this. It's gonna be amazing.
They keep nailing.
I got chills right now just thinking about it. This
I know. I'm just like seeing Pedro
God
Pascal.
Damn, this show
Ramsey
is on another level, man.
Yeah, it's so good.
So let's move on.
Yeah.
So then obviously Joel has the.
We could talk about that. We could probably spend a whole episode talking about that scene though. Like it was that good.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean we're already 30 minutes in, and we're only halfway through the episode. It was so good, but yeah. So Joel obviously has that's it. He can't come to grips with. He would rather have loved and lost than to never love. Pretty much is the moral of the story here.
Yeah.
He's not going to leave her, so he's going to do it himself. And Tommy's like, dodgeball there. You get to go back home to my wife and kids. Like, thank goodness. So he takes her.
I will say this is when I was kind of bummed that we didn't get a scene between Tommy and Maria, or even just like a scene of Tommy like
fighting with her.
Yeah,
or explaining to her that he's
exactly.
leaving.
Like I was kind of bummed about that.
We didn't have time. We didn't have time. Those scenes will come. I feel like in the future.
Let's hope so. I mean, a Tommy standalone episode would have been great too. We'll have to see. Again, we don't have a lot of time.
Season 2 is going to be unreal.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I'll straight up tell you. I know exactly what the next 3 episodes are.
Yeah. Okay.
Which we'll get to at the end of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the walls have pretty much been broken down. Joel and Ellie have both decided that we're both in this together, and that's why he's like, I'm gonna give you a choice check. All right, Peck, here you go. Here's my bag. Let's go. Like not even.
Yeah.
So this is both characters are fully invested in each other now, and we've kind of made this official bond, an unspoken pact that okay, I'm your dad, and you're my daughter. And so we get a nice little montage of riding the horse through the Wyoming to eastern Colorado, and we get to the college where the Fireflies are stationed, and we're sprinting now. The horse is galloping at full speed, and we find out they're not there.
In the show?
Yeah.
The horse is galloping at full speed?
No, it's metaphorically.
Oh, sorry.
As far as
it could be very confusing for
Sorry. As far as the story goes, we're sprinting at full speed through this. So because we get to the college, we realize that the Fireflies are not there anymore. We see the monkeys, which is all good and fun. Love me some monkeys.
We love the monkeys in the games.
And in real life.
Yeah, and in real life. So
that was a great shout out to the monkeys.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
This may have felt a little quick, because this was a big level in the game. We find out a lot of stuff. But I think for storytelling purposes and the show, we had to get through this. So obviously we did this, and then as they're up in the college, kind of discovering that the Fireflies are no longer here, they're probably in Salt Lake City. We see the Raiders outside, and they escape, and Joel gets stabbed with a broken handle of a bat.
Yeah.
And this is a bit different than the game.
A little bit.
Which I think was good. I think this was a good change. In the game, this is, I guess, a spoiler, but Joel falls off a ledge and falls on a piece of like rebar sticking up. And yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Right.
I think
again, there was a lot that happened in the game during this part of what in the show. Like the show had to skip a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So Joel got stabbed foolishly and probably in shock, pulls it out. And then the blood starts flowing. Ellie gets him on the horse, and they escape. And then once they're out of sight, Joel passes out, falls off the horse, and is seemingly dead.
Credits. Yeah, they just
credits roll.
Yeah. her just like screaming at him to wake up and all this stuff, and they just roll credits, and you're like, people who don't know anything about the game right now are losing their minds. I was like, God damn. So again, yeah.
This puts us in a very difficult position of talking about this, because we don't want to spoil anything for the show or the game.
Right. Oh yeah, that is difficult, isn't it?
It's very difficult because these are complicated issues and people dying. There's not like can't talk about that.
You can't say anything.
So they roll credits, and then you're like, all right, I gotta watch what happens and what's the preview for the next episode, so I know where they're gonna go with the story. And next episode's a complete flashback, so they're gonna hang us here, dangle us by a little string for 2 fucking weeks, while we were like, Joel's dead, and you're gonna do this to me? Unreal.
He was so worried about losing Ellie that but now he's dead. Like,
we just consummated this like marriage of father and daughter, and now he's dead. And now you're gonna let that dangle on us for 2 weeks in a row.
They spent literally like the whole trip down, like that was him finally accepting her as kind of just another daughter, and her just kind of accepting him as her new dad. They were having those like the silly talks. She was just asking him every question under the sun. And it was great. Like, I loved the little just kind of montage of that. I loved it. I thought it was super... Because, I mean, again, they gave, like, little bit of snippets, kind of little nudges, like, for us gamers. Like, you remember this? You know? About football. She was asking about football. Like, loved it.
Which we always love.
Yeah.
We love football. And it's so funny listening to him to explain football in an apocalypse. It's like... Football really is just... It's so stupid. Football is the dumbest game. So you carry a ball and you go forward. That's it.
You have to go 10 yards in one direction. Yeah, essentially. But it's
very
very violent.
Very violent. I'm gonna get the dog.
Yeah, go get the dog. Cool. No, more of that montage that I love. Just her then also going off on a tangent about astronauts. Amazing. Again. For those who have played games and stuff, they might they're just giving us just a little bit of like, hey, little, you remember this little bit? Like just little things that I just appreciate so much from the writers and stuff. Like, yeah, you could just tell that they put time and care into this show. Yeah. So,
and that's where we end, man. The preview for next episode is going to be, spoiler alert, a flashback between Ellie and her friend Riley, and this is the DLC to the video game. So I'm very excited for this. We won't spoil anything, but it's going to be a great episode.
I finally remember that I did play this DLC. So,
and the actress who plays Riley looks awesome. She looks incredible.
On.
I'm very excited for that. That's going to be a great episode. But again, it's just like taking Joel from us and then just being like, we're not going to talk about this for a while. And it's just like,
hey, you know this guy that you really like had this... You reluctantly really love, you know? He's kind of a bad guy, but he's like, he's a good guy, though.
There's goodness in his heart.
Yeah. You want to see him break down and just love Ellie?
Well, he did for a minute.
Who knows?
Phenomenal episode.
Great. Like I said, I think it might be my new favorite. I think it's because of the scene between Joel and Ellie, though. That scene where he's telling her that he's sending her off at Tommy.
It's incredibly powerful, and the reason why we've talked about the show being, the reason why we're so excited for the show is because we wanted people who don't play video games to experience a story, and it feels like the creators of the show, obviously, is also a creator of the game, but they know that, they know these story points and these pieces of characters and character arcs that are so pivotal to the story. They're keeping those pieces within the show, so that the people who aren't gamers can experience a story for everything that it is, even without the video game medium. So it's absolutely wonderful.
And they're still giving tribute to us diehards, where, like, they're probably just like little throwaway lines to anybody who hasn't played the game.
Neil Druckmann,
but for us, we're like, I remember this.
Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin need to literally teach and get paid an absorbent amount of money to teach every producer every director, every writer who lives in the vicinity of Hollywood how to adapt media into the television or film space.
Hey, Warner Brothers, you guys get so many video game IPs. You guys need to. I'm hoping you're sitting there taking notes. Okay.
No, notes ain't gonna do it. You need these guys to come tell you.
That's right. Yeah,
to
probably.
your face how this needs to be done.
So take a minute to get off your golf courses and your silly drunken benders in Miami, Florida, because I know that's what you're doing.
No, that's what you're doing.
You don't care at all about these things that you're just giving money to and then taking more money from. Yeah, you guys need to do better. Because it obviously can be done.
It can be done. We've been proven that.
It can be done.
And we're getting proven it episode and episode again.
So good.
And this episode really got me thinking about season 2, man. And I'm very nervous for season 2. There's so many thoughts and emotions on the second game, and especially it's even divisive, which is strange.
Very strange.
But But I agree, because I think a lot of, there are some issues I had with the second game. But I think this television show medium will alleviate those problems.
Yeah, it will be interesting, because obviously the second part 2 was not as well received as part 1.
Yeah, but still, part 1. I mean, is even being. I am a fan of the second game. I do.
Yeah,
really,
I do too. I also like it.
The first one's just one of the greatest things ever made, hands down.
I mean, it's truly a masterpiece, like
in every sense of the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
besides maybe some of the gameplay, but
right. The gameplay is very basic. Like, you're not playing it because it's like some crazy, cool mechanics or anything. No, it's your standard zombie survival game, but the story that pushes you along, is phenomenal. And yeah, so but it'll be curious to see how season 2 is received, because I mean, obviously the game, what's his name? The guy that's helping with.
Craig Marsden
probably he knows obviously that the game part 2 was not well received.
He hangs out on Reddit, and it was well received. It was just like there was people
a loud minority.
They're review bombing on Metacritic, and then there's like subreddits that hate on it, and there's some YouTube reviews and stuff that were bad, but for the most part, it was critically acclaimed, and as it should.
It's still so good. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun to see it.
We got
translated into.
We got 3 episodes left of this season. And every single one from here on out continually is going to be an absolute stellar hype fest. And there's a lot. And if you're just watching the show, man, there's a lot more to come. Mm-hmm. Somehow, you may not believe it, but there is so much more to come.
I can't.
And I want to. I wish
3 episodes and one is a flashback. Dude.
I wish I could talk about it.
3 episodes and one of these is a flashback. Oh my gosh. I can't tell if it's excitement or nervousness.
Well, I'll explain to you once we close this why it's going to be so good.
Oh,
it's going to be amazing. I promise you.
Little inside source?
No, as a fellow writer myself, I know how these things can work out for the best.
It is.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We went a little long today, but this episode deserved a little bit extra love and attention. Yeah. And again, tune in next week and the week after and the week after that, because we are just going to continue talking about how amazing this is.
Yeah,
because I can't see it going any other way.
Right. We hope you guys are enjoying it. If you're not, you're an idiot and don't deserve to appreciate art.
You don't enjoy to have your HBO subscription.
Yeah, give me it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We love you. Appreciate you. See you next week. Goodbye.